Right. So welcome to this Here Lies Metal interview. So hope you're having a good day. So all right. So let's get to the questions here. So what's the music scene like? In your town, like when there was a music scene. I mean, not like right now.
Yeah.
When there was.
Um, I think it's mainly like as far as metal goes, just kind of like I don't know, hardcore and like Pantera clones
Really.
and Lamb of God clones
Right. Makes
because
sense.
Lamb of God's in Richmond.
Right.
So
Right.
you'd think there'd be more like municipal waste clones, but no.
Yeah.
Like there aren't any really. There's like
Yeah.
some crossover bands that are pretty good, like fuck, I can't remember her name. I have to like look it up because I played in a band recently with another guy who's in that band, and like they're pretty good. Like they have a good following. But yeah, like punk, hardcore, prog, like you can find that, but not too much thrash.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, you figure because like municipal waste really kind of like I feel like municipal waste when they came out, they kind of like helped revive the whole thrash and crossover thing, like single-handedly, because they were really one of the first like small bands to bring that sound back.
yeah,
Um, I had seen them maybe in '08 or something. Well, it wasn't them. It was Iron Reagan actually. Open for I Hate God once, and I was like, who? I was like, what? I was like, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, people are playing thrash again. I was
yeah.
like, this is awesome. I was like, I forgot this sound. I love this. I want to hear more of this. And I discovered municipal waste and everything. I was like, oh, this is even better. So
I think
yeah,
it's more like they were the first ones to do it and actually be marketable.
yeah,
Like they had the
right?
look, they looked like what they sounded like, and you can sell that.
Yeah,
It's not like just like us who, we're going out there. I'm wearing some Timberlands and fucking,
right. You just look, yeah, you got to,
like
yeah,
a
the look
FUBU
always
shirt or
matters.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially municipal waste. Like they especially municipal waste. They definitely have like the look.
Yeah. They're
Um,
all like super nice guys though, and like very
yeah,
down to earth and
yeah. It seems like I follow Tony Foresta on Instagram. It seems like he's always I recently saw him though in his recent post. He was like literally at John Travolta's house.
yeah,
Um,
I'm like, man, I hope like those Scientologists aren't
yeah.
trying to like sucker them in.
I was like, what? I was like, why is Tony Foresta at John Travolta's house? I was like, what is going on here? How does he know John Travolta? It's like, does this
I
have
think
something to
it's
do?
I think that might be like some kind of connection with Dark Operative, like did all the stuff with Power Trip, and he seems like he's like in tight with a lot of people out west.
Yeah. Wow.
So I
Interesting.
think that might be the common thread, but
All right. I was like, yeah, I
hopefully
was like, I was like, why? Because anyone it does anything with John Travolta, I'm like, what's going on here? What
it's
are you up to?
sketch.
Yeah, it's like, what are you up to?
If we see
So,
him with Tom Cruise, we know it's
yeah,
over.
that's it. He's
Yeah,
in. Yeah, he's in the cult. So, yeah, very cool.
nice. Yeah.
So you were talking about another band you were in. Like, yeah, so what were the other bands you were in before you did this?
Um, I was in a band called like Dark Omen, like back in '05,
Yeah.
and we kind of like trudged along for a few years and just played locally and the occasional like show out of the area, like maybe a festival here and there, but we never really we didn't understand the whole marketing and pitching your stuff. We just wrote music and played every day, and
Yeah,
we're
what's
like,
wrong
oh,
with that?
somebody will find us,
Yeah.
someday. Like that's how it works. It's the '80s,
Yeah.
but
Right. You
but
still, yeah, right. You think about back then, like, I don't know if it was like easy back then, but there was a lot, you guys, there was a lot less tools, that you didn't have an internet, you didn't have a band camp, you didn't have things like that
yeah,
back
you had
then.
MySpace. That was the big
Well,
thing
I'm
when
talking about before that. I mean,
oh
like,
before yeah. Oh,
think of
you're
like,
just yeah, you're pounding pavement and putting up
yeah.
flyers and bumper stickers everywhere you could.
Yeah. So after that band, why the one man approach? What made you
Um,
do the one man band?
yeah, really, I didn't do anything for like probably 10 years. Like I don't even think I picked up a guitar, but maybe five times. Um, But so I started building this like beast gaming rig, and then I figured out it's like, oh, I can do everything with this. Like I can
Yeah.
make music. So I started doing that, and eventually led to like an actual band. And we could never keep a vocalist. And I've never done vocals before, but I was like, all right, I'm just gonna try to learn this in case I have to do the vocals and play guitar at the same time and all that. And yeah, and it turned into this project pretty much.
So the biggest challenge were the vocals. Like you didn't have like that was like the biggest like thing that you got fed up with in dealing with other people was vocalists,
Yeah,
you
because
would say?
we would land a good vocalist for like, and then we rehearse for a couple months, get ready to play shows, and then they would either disappear or it's like, hey, something came up, I can't be in a band anymore, and we went through this like 3 times in a year, and so I said, fuck it, like I'm gonna learn this, like,
But I feel like vocals like anyone can just be like, oh, I'm just gonna sing into a thing, I'm just gonna sing and But I guess it is kind of hard if you're really sustaining that if you're playing live. For me, the problem with a band was always drummers around here.
Mhm.
You couldn't. First of all, they're all taken. Like you can't if you have a drummer, they're probably in 5 different bands up here.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
lucky they're giving you the time of day.
Really, like your
Um,
whole rhythm section, like drums, bass, like
yeah,
they
bass players
always
too.
have work.
Yes. Yeah, bass players too. But like bass players, like they're it's hard to find a good one. Like there's a lot of people that can play bass. Usually, like some guitarist that's gonna be like, oh, I'll play bass, but usually not
Yeah,
very good.
there aren't a
You know?
lot of dedicated, like,
Yeah,
this is my primary instrument bass
exactly,
players. Yeah.
exactly. So like you're playing all the instruments. So how did that come about? Like what your music is what's like what would you say is your main instrument? Because your all of your instruments like all your tracks are just so proficient. They're all just like top notch. So like, what is your instrument? What
Oh,
is your instrument?
guitar for sure.
So it's
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
How did your drums get so good? I keep commenting about the drums on your album. Like,
Yeah.
how did you do that?
So, like, at best, I can play like standard 2/4 AC/DC beats and the occasional blast.
Right.
So yeah, all that shit's programmed. Yeah,
That
I
wasn't.
put it, that's all
Hold
programmed.
up. Wait,
Yeah,
hold up. Those weren't real drums?
no,
Are you fucking kidding me?
they're
Those
like,
are the best programmed drums I've ever heard.
yeah, like
I'm not lying to you.
I'll tell you about that because the first album I did earlier this year, um one guy reviewed it and he was like, yeah, you can tell that they're like programmed drums. So for this latest album and going forward, it's like, well, I can't have that shit. Like,
Right, right.
I don't want people being like, oh, that's fake. So
Sure.
I got the like most realistic like samples I could get.
What samples did you use?
It's Ugratone.
You used Ugertone, really?
Yeah, because
Wow.
it's because they put there's no mixing, no compression, there's no EQing. It's just the raw drum sound.
You're just so it's not like like addictive drums where you kind of like. I mean, addictive drums are okay, but that's kind of a complicated program. So you just use Ugertone. Wow. Like
Yeah,
I recently heard of them, and I actually downloaded some like MIDI files from them because I was like, oh, these are pretty good beats. So wow. So they use Ugertone for their samples. Wow.
yeah, for the
Wow.
samples because it's like it's so raw. It's kind of like reverse engineering drums. So like a lot of bands now, you send something off to get mixed, and they're just going through on Pro Tools and replacing all the drum hits with samples,
Right.
which is like kind of bullshit. Like I'd be
Right.
pissed if I was a drummer and they did that.
Yeah. They just
But
triggered all your drums. Yeah.
yeah, all
Yeah.
the big bands are doing that. So I'm just doing it across the board, but kind of like going in the MIDI and putting in missed hits, like because a lot of guys will do it with the fake drums and it's just like the same velocity. Like
Right.
the snare drum's always at the same level and it sounds like hyper
Yeah.
compressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
like
natural. Yeah.
I dial all that back. Like I don't use as much compression. I don't use like super aggressive EQing. Um, just kind of filter it and yeah, and just go through like the whole song. Like I'm like you can be lazy and just throw in like some MIDI packs that some guys done, but like if somebody else is using the exact same MIDI pack,
Right.
like it's just gonna
Yeah.
be like, oh, like
Yeah.
that's
It's
fake,
like
you know?
that again. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that's a heard that beat before. Wow. Well, you like figured out how to just get like the best because I swore that was like real. I was like, oh, these aren't fake. You know. And I always look for that. I'm always like listening for that. So wow, it's very impressive. So
Like I
so
even remixed that whole album. Like I had sent it off to get the CDs produced, and then I was like, it's not good enough. It doesn't sound real enough. So if you have the CD and you have the digital download or listen to it on Spotify, they sound different.
uh,
Like
wow.
Amateur Night, you know?
Wow. Okay. Wow. It's very interesting. Wow. But wow,
Yeah.
it's so cool that you really just were so crazy about the sound and it really paid off. Yeah, everything's pretty balanced on that album. I mean, your guitar work is good. The bass is there. Like the bass is it's audible. And
Yeah.
it's
It's
good. Like
the bass
everything.
is more like kind of like Van Halen bass. Like I
Yeah,
don't know
which
if
I
you
like.
heard the story where it's like he's at Van Halen, Eddie's at a party, and some
Yeah.
chick's like, I can't hear the bass, and he's like, yeah, you can. It's all through. You can feel it. It's you're just kind of supporting, the low end that isn't there on the guitar.
Right.
And occasionally it's like on the slower parts, I'll just stick real close to the bass, the kick drum. So like,
Just
same key and everything, but I'm just like following the kick. I suck at bass though. Like
it's
I'm
the proper way to play bass, though. I mean, you're really supposed to follow the drummer. Like lousy bass players that are guitarists, that don't really know how to play bass. They just like follow whatever the guitar is playing, and it
yeah.
just doesn't sound
Or
effective.
then you get guys that are really good who are just out in left field and it doesn't really mesh well.
Yeah, it's just
And
too much. Yeah.
like I think a lot of that has to do with like the drum production too, because they're all like drums and metal today. It's just real clicky.
Yeah.
Like you know what I
That
mean?
that
There's not as
sure
much
that
warmth.
yeah, that Pantera sound, that
Yeah.
very that yeah, that kind of I never really liked that sound. I like, the drums sounding like, like an old kind of, beat up drum set, like punk rock or something, but with
Yeah.
metal, I don't like that super processed drum sound. And that's why, your sound so good. That is just a natural sound. And it's perfect for your music because your drums are so kind of in your face. It's just perfect for like a theme of pro wrestling. It's
Yeah.
I could just imagine like wrestlers marching out to those beats. They're perfect for what you're making. Wow. So that's really interesting.
Just totally
Um,
burst your bubble with the like fake ass drums.
Yeah,
Like
that's damn good. You should give lessons on how to. You should give production. You should make YouTube videos and stuff how to do that. So people
yeah, maybe yeah. Yeah, I'll be
you
like,
know,
hey, buy the album and you'll get a
yeah,
present.
right. Just teach people how to engineer like that. That was pretty damn good. So, all right. So most importantly, what are your music influences? Like, what made you where'd this come from? Where'd this sound? What inspired you to really to make metal, to make music?
I guess like I don't know, back way back it's like, yeah, the staple bands, like Megadeth, Anthrax, Metallica, that stuff.
Right.
But lately I'm more influenced now by the newer bands. Like
Really?
the newer like old school style thrash bands.
Yeah.
Like not like Periphery and
Yes.
Gent
Yes.
New.
Yeah. We talk
Yeah.
about like, yeah,
Because really that's like the new metal band.
yeah,
Like they
that's the
all
same
sound like
idea. That's the cutting we always like every time we do a review we're always kind of looking for bands that have like an old sound. I mean, new bands that have like I know like there's new bands that are sort of trying to do this cutting edge sound and I just can't get into that, like those cutting it like a band like Avatar or something, like what I just can't get into that stuff. It's like super like syncopated, extremely tuned down, just like jun, 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 but it's not like melodic at all. I just can't get into it. I guess I'm too
yeah.
old. I don't know. I can't get into
I
it.
think it's like I talk about this all the time with my friends. It's like there's no feeling, there's no emotion, there's just like no melody really. Like they're playing really technical stuff.
Yes.
It requires great skill and timing and all that, but it's like it just doesn't resonate. It doesn't like grab you, you
Yeah.
know?
it's all rage too. It's just all like just
Mhm.
extreme. It's like on the extreme level, you know. It's like I hate
Yeah,
to
it's
sound like
like
an
what
old person. It's
how
just, you
you
know.
notice that though, like every few years, it's like, all right, what level can I take it to
Right.
next? Like, how much
Right.
more extreme can you get?
It's an
And it's
arms
like,
race. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I don't want to be challenged anymore. Like life is challenging enough. Why am I gonna
Yes.
challenge people to listen to my music? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
just kick
It's
back, you
you
know?
can't listen to that stuff all the time either. Like you're gonna be in that mood all the time, you know. Like
Yeah,
I just want to smash it all the time, kind of. Yeah, the music just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, so I get what you're.
that's how I was like when I was younger. It's just like I'm
Right.
just gonna listen to Nile and
I
dying
hope.
fetus all the time, and it's like I'm ready to fight people. I'm just angry, and you know if you don't listen to anything else, it's like you're just doomed.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta mix it up.
You got to do everything. Yeah, you have to listen to everything. I mean, there's everything out there to listen to, and you got to check it all out. You know, no matter what genre it is. You know,
Dude,
that's what
yeah,
makes for good
like for
musicians.
real. Like I probably listen to DMX more than like I
There you
do
go.
right now. Like I'm listening to DMX, Prince. Like I got all these records and it's like just old stuff and like you listen to all those old records and how good the production is and it's like all analog and
Yeah.
nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, to me, like the best like recording ever was done like late 70s, early 80s. Like whatever they were doing back then, like that shit was just perfect. Like any
So,
band, whether it's some pop band or it's, everything was just damn perfect back
like
then.
to me it reminds me of because I used to do radio and like one of the things we had to learn was how to make sound effects. It's like I imagine them doing this like at Abbey Road, studios or whatever. Just like we need to create reverb. Let's hang some plates from the ceiling and like
Yeah.
crazy stuff. And now it's all like just like a 1 megabyte download.
Right. Like it's just like a digital plugin, but like an original reverb was literally like a plate. It was called a plate reverb, and it was like this wall of like shit. I don't even know how it worked, but it was like, wow, that's how they used to make reverb back then. And that was like to them, it was like, wow, we got reverb. We have artificial reverb. This is amazing. Like
Yeah,
that was so
and it's
groundbreaking.
it's so amazing you put it on everything.
Yeah, it's like let's put it on everything, like yeah, like all like metal albums from the early '80s, like Tom Araya and like the early Slayer albums, just like super reverb in the voice, it's like okay, it's like damn Jesus, you
I
know,
love that shit though. Like
yeah, I
like
like that
old
sound.
old Dokken. Like I love
Yes,
old Dokken, White Snake, and then then later it's like I feel like Skid Row nailed it. You know what I mean? Like those first two albums. It's like they nailed the production. Like I don't know if you ever played it. Like if you play
uh,
the first Skid Row album in like a car with some subs, it's like it hits. I'm
I,
just like,
I
yo, all right.
yeah, all the frequencies were in the right place. I mean, those hair metal albums are so well produced. I mean, there's no this, they were they just had great sounds. They're great
Well, they had
musicians.
so much money behind them
It's
too.
true. Yeah, there's a lot of cocaine and money just flying into that, and everything was just like there were Lamborghinis, and it was chicks with big tits. It was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, everything. We just can't live that again, It's back when America was great, as they say. So, those were the days. I don't, I remember as a child just thinking everything was awesome. That's why I wanted to be a guitarist. Like that's probably why you wanted to be a guitarist. You saw that, and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Like you
like
saw
my
Eddie Van
my
Halen.
my
You know,
earliest memories really is because military family, so like I was raised by television. It was just put the kid in front of the TV and he'll do his thing. So it's like just wrestling, baseball, and like Headbangers Ball, or just MTV
yes,
really from like 3 p.m. till whenever I passed out because it was like you got everything, you got every genre, you got all the top 40 stuff, and they're playing solos and stuff, and it's like you listen to Rock Box by Run DMC, and it's like got this like dope solo, it's like
yes.
so you grow up thinking this is normal, and then and then I remember like when I started getting older, it was all like the grunge bands. It was this weird like thing. It was like you had like West Coast hip hop, grunge bands, and then like Ace of Base. That was like that was like all you heard. It was like Ace of Base, CNC Music Factory, and like grunge. It's like Like, okay, now we're going downhill. You know?
Yeah, in the early 90s, like you would still see like, well, I just hardly remember what MTV was about, but you would see like videos. It was really eclectic as to what MTV would play back then. They would,
Oh yeah,
play rap to dance stuff to like, like they would still play metal songs. They would still play like, like
yeah,
Phil Collins on MTV,
yeah. If you stayed
you
up
know.
late enough, you could catch like Headbangers Ball. You
Yeah.
know,
I
until
love
it
those
turned into
days.
like garbage. It turned into
Yeah.
like I love Guns N' Roses, but it was just like the Guns N' Roses show there, like at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, when Use
How
Your
many times
Illusion
can we
came
play
out.
November Rain? Like,
Yeah, and I remember like Ricky Rackman was in the video, so he's like, "Hey everyone, I'm in the video. You see me?"
yeah,
Yeah, he's actually at the wedding on the video. But yeah, I remember the early '90s when that came out. Yeah, that was like that pretty much took over everything. Yeah, that was and I remember on the local radio station, the local metal radio station here, like before that they would play like a lot of Manowar and stuff. Then suddenly when grunge came out, they were like playing Soundgarden and everything. That was like the new
yeah,
in Alice in Chains. That was because that was like metal appropriate. That was like okay to play that stuff. So yeah, that kind of took over everything.
yeah. Then
You know.
it's like then they would sprinkle in Black Album and was it
Yes.
like Symphony of Destruction or something, and that's like all you got. That's the closest taste of metal you would get. You know?
Yeah, when I think when Black Album came out, that was like the end of thrash, really. Like, because that was like that's what like metal, metal bands were gonna do if they were gonna be popular. They were gonna do that, and that held up. Black Album held up, and then but
Yeah,
then also there was Pantera, which kind of brought it to this new extremity, which made it okay. I was never into Pantera, but they kind of were able to survive throughout the '90s.
yeah.
For having this more extreme sound, I guess. I don't
Without
know.
like a lot of airplay, really.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they.
see,
No,
like I
it's true.
growing up in the South, like Pantera is like everything. And it's like, I like Cowboys from Hell, but really, other than that, I'm just like, it's just angry, and
Yeah.
it's to me, it's not fun. I'm all about just fun music, and then all the clones, like I was talking about earlier, the Pantera clones you get.
Okay, so now for the important question.
Yeah,
Tell us about your love of pro wrestling and how it inspires your music.
yeah. Really, like I've just been a fanatic, really most of my life. Like you kind of have periods where you're just in and out of it, like especially when you're starting a band, years ago. But like I needed because you figure I'm just learning how to do vocals and write lyrics. So I needed to pick something that I was familiar with, comfortable with, screaming or singing about. And so it was either going to be that or baseball. So I could either do songs about like, I don't know, Andre the Giant or Randy Johnson. It's gonna be like, it's gonna
Specifically,
be,
Randy Johnson.
yeah,
I'll never forget that mullet, Randy
yeah,
Johnson.
big unit, Randy Johnson. But yeah. So that's kind of why I went that route was because it's like, all right, I know the material. Like, I'll still I'll double check myself like on online just to make sure I remember things properly because it's kind of you're when you're younger and you saw it happen live, your interpretation might have been different from reality, because I could have been paying attention to something else at the same time. But yeah, just double checking on the facts and then going forward. That's but yeah, like wrestling dope. It's it's athletic theater.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think wrestling just goes hand in hand with metal. So who are your favorite wrestlers? Who are your wrestling heroes? Who was your favorite wrestlers growing up?
growing up, it was probably like Great Muda from Japan, like because he came in like late '80s and he used to spit the green mist and he had the face paint, so like definitely gravitated towards that because the ice cream man would come and we would get the pixie sticks, we put them in our mouths and just stuff everywhere. Uh,
Eh,
then like Four Horsemen, which is like Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, just like your like good solid technical wrestler guys. And then like you might be more because you're Northeast, like ECW, which is just like hardcore wrestling, and that was big when I was a teenager. So like a lot of my songs feature, characters from like that promotion. Yeah. But yeah, and I love Benoit, even though he killed his family and all that.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
was a great wrestler, and he was just a monster, like a little dude, but he was built like a brick shit house. Just
What were your favorite wrestling matches or like events in wrestling? Because you write a lot of songs about specific happenings
yeah,
in
yeah.
wrestling. So like
Like
what really inspired you for that?
I think War Games was like a big deal because in our area, the Mid Atlantic, WCW was king. Like we didn't really follow, WWF or WWE as it is now as much. So like War Games was a big deal. You had the cage. It was closed off at the top too. So there's always going to be blood,
Yes.
and it was kind of like a blow off to these guys would be feuding for like a year, and it's just always the bad guys are always coming out on top, and then they get the War Games, and the good guys win, and that's the end of it. Then you start another angle or whatever.
Recycling it.
Yeah, so War Games was like a big deal. Um, and really like just like random syndicated like shows that would come on because you're a kid, that's what you would watch. It would come on at noon. So like just random stuff, like that's what is burned in my head, I guess. So some of these songs I've written about, like Tatanka and all that, that's really like not a high profile wrestling angle or storyline. But
I had to look that up. I was like, who is Tatanka? And I had to look
yeah,
that
I
up.
was I was stoked you did that. I was like, man,
Yeah, I
this
had to
dude
find
did
out what
this.
that was. Yeah.
But yeah, like just those random like just events that for some reason resonated. Like I don't know why. Like most people will be like, Savage Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, is the greatest match ever, or Steamboat Flair, Terry Funk, Carly Rae's, like those matches, but just like stupid shit is what I remember the most. But I still appreciate, the greatest matches and stuff. But yeah, I'm
Wow.
an idiot. I just like dumb stuff.
Yeah, I wish I got more into wrestling. The most amazing thing I ever saw in wrestling was just watching this cage match, and Mankind was on top of the cage,
Yeah, yeah,
and he fell off the cage onto the surface. It was about a 20-foot drop, maybe a 30-foot
hmm
drop, onto thumbtacks. And he landed and he's just bleeding everywhere and he's laughing. He's like, ha.
yeah,
It was like and I was like, oh, this guy's a fucking animal.
yeah.
Like,
Because
and
I
he,
think that was Hell in a Cell, like '97. I think that was
yes,
like
that was
him and
probably it.
Undertaker. Um,
Yes, that was probably it.
like if I remember correctly, that particular spot where he falls through the cage was not like planned.
Really?
Like when they threw him off into the announcers table, like that was planned, but like the stuff afterward was not, like, because when he fell through the cage, like his teeth like broke and went
Yeah,
up through his nose and
his
stuff.
mouth was bleeding. I remember that. I was
Yeah,
like, Jesus. I was
but
like, yeah. I was like, oh, this is out of
he,
control.
he's he's a bad dude because he
Yeah.
took some punishment. He's got some. You should check out his stuff in Japan too. I think it was with FMW, and there's like exploding barbed wire and all
Oh,
kinds
that's
of
awesome.
crazy death match stuff.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love the sound of that.
I
Like,
think my dad, he was like real good growing up because I really had no restrictions on what I could watch. Like I was watching RoboCop every day after school,
yes.
like
That is. Oh,
every single
yes.
day. I had it on cassette. Like we taped it off of like TV, and after that was Beverly Hills Cop 2, and that's what I watched like every day. But
Grew up
like he was,
correctly.
because my dad, he was a collegiate wrestler, so he was very quick to be like, hey, that's fake, let me show you some real stuff, and he taught me like a chicken wing and all kinds of like moves. But he was like, just you can watch this, just know it's fake, just know RoboCop, that's not real. So because of that, I haven't shot up a school or went postal
Exactly.
anybody. you know
Exactly. We got to, I grew up on Rambo, RoboCop,
yeah,
Die Hard. like all Revenge of the Ninja, like these like obscure karate like kung fu
Yeah.
movies that were just extremely bloody. I got to watch those. Yeah, and like I didn't ever want to shoot up my school, and I wasn't treated particularly nicely by by the jocks and stuff, and I didn't want to kill them. I was like, that's I'll just deal with it. But yeah, so like we played the violent video games. So I don't know. I don't want to be like these kids today. I don't know.
I
But
also think it's weird too how like you look at like metalheads today, and it's like they all of them seem to be like the bullied kids in school or whatever. Which I don't know. Like that's one thing I can't relate to. I was a jock. Like like I was big time baseball guy. So like I think that's another reason I gravitated towards the wrestling thing was because you look at a lot of the things that people write about in metal, and it's like I can't relate to any of that shit.
right.
Honestly, I
Right,
can't.
you just want to have fun. You want to like make it fun. You want to make it like like though your album artwork, would not
Oh yeah,
think it looks like a typical like
yeah.
kind of culty kind of metal thing, which seems to be the thing these days. You wouldn't think it has anything with wrestling. So how did you come up with that art? Because we always like to
That's my
talk about
favorite
people's art.
thing with the artwork is like anytime because I'm like right now I'm working on something like 3 albums from now, and I already got the artwork. But
Wow.
some of it I'll see like because most of the people I get are in Indonesia, like the artists. It's like there's weird collective of just great artists are in Indonesia,
Oh,
and they'll post stuff and they'll just be like, hey, this is available, so I'll hit them up. And because sometimes I'll see something and it'll just trigger in my brain. It's like, oh yeah, I can call it this. Other times it's like I'll do a more like I'll commission something. Like the first album was commissioned. Like I hit up some Russian dude who does actual like that's completely like painted by hand. Like that first album cover, it's just a hand reaching for a ring. But but yeah, that's my favorite thing is the artwork because you can make cool shirts.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's all about the shirts. I mean, I think in this day and age, you got to sell shirts. You got to sell
Yeah,
shirts. That's
yeah.
what makes you the money. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Shirts, patches, merch like that. People like that stuff. So so are you working on new albums? You're
Yeah,
working on
because
new music?
like I write at such an insane pace. Like
How are
like
you motivated to do that? How are you motivated to keep writing? How do you not get distracted by
so
things, by life?
well, I think most people, when they pick up a guitar, they're usually just practicing. Like
Right.
I don't practice. Every time I pick up guitar, I write a song. So like
Do you do you record your riffs as you play? You always have the record button on. Like, how do you
not
remember that?
not always, but like when I'm just like I'll find that riff to build off of, and then I start recording because I do everything is like quad track, so I have to record each guitar track 4 times, which is a pain in the ass if you start playing real fast. um,
Right.
but yeah, so every time I pick up a guitar, I write a song. Like, and I tell my friends like when I die, I'm gonna have just vaults of music like Prince, so like you could just I'll be dead and there'll still be new music coming out. You know?
That that is just a great like work ethic to have. I mean like I just get distracted like so easily, like just work just coming out from work, it's just like I don't know, pick up my guitar,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's amazing how you could do that. You could just
I guess
be
that's kind
motivated
of like
to do
my
that.
outlet though. Like if I didn't, but I mean, if I didn't write music, I would just lift weights as soon as I got home, or I would actually hang out with my wife and she wouldn't just be watching Netflix by herself all the time. But
But you're
she's
obviously
very
no,
supportive of it though. She's just like, yeah, go do your thing. I don't care. So
that's good. But you're obviously you're a driven person though. Like you want to do something for improvement. You don't want to just sit around like play computer game. You want to like do
yeah,
something. It's like, hey, I
like
want to lift. I want to improve myself. I want to make music. That's such a
I think
good attitude to have.
that's like if you grow up playing sports, you're just competitive. Like I hate anybody being better than me at anything. So like like I'm always like even like when I wasn't writing music, I was going to the bowling alley like every night and just like, all right, I'm gonna do better than yesterday. Like I bowled a 220. It's like I need to bowl a 225. It's like I need a 300. Like I'm just insane with that, you know.
Wow.
But more so with myself. Like I stopped eating meat just to see if I could do it, and then it turned into like, oh, I love animals too, so I'm not gonna eat them. But just just random stuff I'll find and just see if I can do it. Like that's it. Like this whole band I never would have done if like COVID didn't happen. Cause shit, I didn't work for like 3 months, you know? So I was just like, all right, let's press some CDs and press some shirts and see what happens, you know?
Wow. Wow. So there you go. No excuses for anyone watching. Like, this there you go. You made that album. How long? How long did it take you to make that album?
This last one, I did all that in like 2 weeks.
Two
Like
weeks.
it was like 11 tracks. I think one or two of them might have been I already had done on the back burner, but yeah, like right now, so for next year I have a split planned with a band called Tongan Death Grip. They're also wrestling based, so you should check them out. Then I have the next full length, which is called Karma Always Collects. I'm actually gonna press that on vinyl because I have to now because like I got friends who funded like half of it, so it's like, oh, I got your money. I actually have to do this now because it's really not profitable if you're by yourself. Like if I had a whole band, like three other guys, it's like cool, yeah, let's do it. That's no problem. But when you're by yourself, it's like, oh, I need to come up with like 2 G's for some shit that I'm not gonna sell all of them. But
Right.
then I got yeah, I'm planning on two full length releases. So I've got material like mixed and mastered that won't see the light of day for a couple years. Like it's
Wow.
just
That's how
nonstop.
backed up you are. Wow. Well, that is very motivational. So there you go. Lucas the warrior. No excuses, people. Look what Lucas is doing. He is making it happen. So that's amazing. That
I mean,
that
it's not
is
necessarily good, but it's something, you know.
it's
Fuck it.
good. If you're making it, it's good. You're getting it out there. We found it on Spotify and so yeah, it's there and people are listening to it. So it's good and there'll be more. So that's amazing, Lucas.
Yeah, probably
So
too much more.
it's you keep it coming and we'll put out the album, we will guaranteedly review it. So we're
Oh
we're
yeah.
looking out for what you're making. You're on our we're watching you. You're on the list,
Oh
so
shit.
you're good, so all right, and finally, Lucas, do you ever plan on like touring with a band? Like you ever like when things come back, do you want to like put a band together and
Um,
have to play that music out?
that would be like pretty cool. Like it's up there, especially since the band I was playing in isn't doing anything anymore. Um, but it's kind of like I should do it just to see how disciplined I can be about this. Because, like I said, every time I pick up a guitar, I write a song. So when I'm still not at the point to where I can play all this stuff cleanly and deliver the vocals at the same time. Because I've just started doing this. So you figure I've got 20 years of guitar playing versus 1 year of vocals. Um, so yeah, just that's that's why a lot of the music is kind of like dumbed down compared to what I was writing, where I'm just a guitar player.
That was dumbed down. You
Yeah,
consider that dumbed down? I
yeah,
I am very eager to hear your non-dumbed down material.
yeah. I think it's more. It's probably more along the lines of like rooted in thrash, but it's going more in that Nile direction,
Okay, yeah,
archaic. Like
yeah. Nile's pretty complicated, yeah.
yeah,
But your music is more interesting than Nile. Okay, I'm not into Nile. I've seen them, you know. I'm not into the prog death metal thing. Like I just especially Nile. I'm like I never got into them. But yeah, your music is more fun than Nile. Nile isn't fun. If we did a rating on Nile, they would be not fun because they're not
yeah.
fun. Well, yeah, that's yeah, I learned a lot about you, Lucas. Like you're extremely motivated warrior, man. You're just like on it. So, we're just gonna, we're very eager to hear what you come out with next. And we hope, you get to tour one day because we'll definitely, see you if you come up here. So,
Yeah, if anything, just so I can sell some damn t-shirts, man.
well, thanks for, taking the time to talk to me here, talk to Here Lies Metal podcast. Yeah, so I wish you luck with your next album and everything, and eager to hear that. So yeah, you could find yeah, tell the people that where you can find all your stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to buy stuff, go to atomicdrop1.bandcamp.com. I usually throw in extra stuff. So if you order a shirt, I'll probably put 2 in there. Unless you're international and the shipping costs like $20 to send a CD. Instagram is Atomic Drop Metal, at Atomic Drop Metal, and then for Facebook it is I can't remember. It's like like I'm pretty sure you can just look up Atomic Drop. And
Yeah, I'll find you. I'll put you all down. I'll put all that info down in the comments for everybody.
So, I'm terrible at the whole social media.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm like, oh, should I, like my wife does all the Twitter stuff. I'm not, it's like, I'm not touching that. I don't do that. I just put all the stupid memes up on Facebook and, and I just produce the show, but that's about it. I don't.
The heavy lifting, doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, she does the heavy lifting. That's it. All the reviews and stuff. She finds the bands. I mean, she found you guys. Or you, not you guys, you. But yeah, like she's doing.
I should say it is kind of like 2 guys. I do have my buddy Rick Winston. He does clean vocals. You'll actually hear a hell of a lot more of him on the next album.
Oh, that guy that was on your, I thought that was like some wrestler or something. Like that you got to like sing or something.
Like he's like an accomplished musician. He studied at Musicians Institute and now he's a comedian. But yeah, he's got his own show on Twitch. And yeah, he's just a beast, and he can hit all the Halford notes and stuff like that, and he can shred on guitar. So there'll be more of his guitar work and vocals on the next album for sure.
Very cool. We're looking forward to it, Lucas. So yeah, once again,
I'm probably gonna, if you have a Dropbox, I'll just send you the next album.
Okay, yeah, I'll yeah, or just Google Drive, Google Drive, right? That thing. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for once again, Lucas. Thank you for taking the time, and it was very nice talking to you. And I learned a lot from you, and a lot of revelations in what you said, and highly motivational as well. So I'd like to thank you for that.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Anytime, Lucas. All right, so Lucas, have a good night, and we will talk to you soon. Right? Take care, man.